Welcome to Manpower's podcast presenting the latest white paper on social networks, which was launched at the end of January 2010 at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland by Jeffrey Joris, CEO of Manpower Inc. In the early years of the World Wide Web, many organizations feared that employees would spend too much time surfing the net, so they tried to control access. There is no doubt that some employees did waste time that way, but many soon figured out how to use the power of the internet to do their jobs better, and the internet quickly became a valuable resource for conducting desktop research, tracking competitors, and other corporate activities. The latest innovation in technology to hit the workplace is social media. Sites such as Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter are increasing in popularity. These platforms allow individuals to connect, communicate, and share information with revolutionary ease and power. Growth to this platform has been staggering. Individuals are using them everywhere and anywhere, including the workplace. This is a concern for some business leaders. Concerns about social networking at work are valid, but organizations can benefit from social media guidelines that channel its use in positive and creative directions. A new Manpower survey of nearly 34,400 employers worldwide found that only 31% of Australian and 32% of New Zealand organisations have instituted a formal policy on employee use of external social networks, compared with 20% on a global level. This doesn't mean organisations shouldn't develop and enforce formal guidelines on the use and abuse of social networking. Formal guidelines should not aim to control employees' social networking behaviour. Rather, it should focus on channeling its use that can benefit both parties. There is no turning back from social media. The key is to unlock its value to the organisation and to embrace its productive use. When asked if organisations' reputation was ever negatively affected as a result of employees' use of social media, only 7% and 4% of employers in Australia and New Zealand, respectively, answered yes, suggesting that the widespread concern is exaggerated, though reputation management remains vitally important. A persistent danger inherent in the use of social networking sites involves the risk of outside intrusions into company IT networks. Such attacks can mean the loss of sensitive data as well as IT service disruptions. Yet, it's not clear how often social networking has enabled such attacks and how much damage they have actually caused. Network security software can certainly help mitigate these risks by blocking access to certain sites. But again, much of the risk lies in the insecure behaviour of employees. Only by changing that behaviour can companies take a significant step towards security. Instead of limiting the creative and value-adding activities of employees, corporate governance of social media should develop an atmosphere and promote a corporate culture that encourages these efforts. Corporate leaders need to look for ways to harness the popularity and business value of social media in order to boost organizational performance and further corporate goals. Progressive organizations such as Procter & Gamble, IBM, Nestle, Best Buy, and Capgemini, as well as others, are utilizing social media to do these things and much more. Social networking can be a real productivity booster. More than half of the Fortune 100 companies have Twitter accounts, and of those, 2/3 are using them for such productivity-enhancing tasks as customer service. A typical example is electronics retailer Best Buy. Its recently launched 12 Force equips customer service representatives with Twitter accounts they can use to answer questions posed by their customers. The system isn't perfect, and it has been criticized by some as being just another channel for advertising. But many others claim that it has enabled the company's customer service representatives to more efficiently help more customers. Organizations are more widely dispersed than prior years, and the opportunity to work face-to-face will continue to lessen over time. More than 91% of companies surveyed in 2009 already use some form of proprietary collaboration suite. Social media tools is considered to be a prerequisite for doing business today, especially by our younger generation. Companies have always looked for effective ways to capture the knowledge and ideas locked up in the minds of their employees. With the onset of social media, companies are finding new and creative ways to systemize these efforts. Capgemini, for example, has launched an ambitious project to use applications such as blogs and wikis to help connect its 90,000 employees. Companies determined to improve the value of their innovative efforts have been looking beyond their dedicated research and development teams and traditional processes for fresh ideas. Social media has given these open innovation efforts a huge boost by allowing companies to build channels to customers, academics, and independent inventors who used to be hard to reach in a targeted and sustained way. Engaging employees at an intellectual and emotional level at work is critical to any company's success. Social media is particularly suited for communication intended to keep employees connected to an organization's mission and vision. For example, leaders can use social media to establish and enhance a two-way dialogue with employees and reinforce the perception that we're all in this together. Similarly, company-sponsored social networks can forge critical connections among teams in remote offices, ensuring that employees feel connected to each other and focused on the task at hand. Social networks, in particular professionally oriented ones like LinkedIn, can be useful for making business connections and recruiting prospective employees. According to a Deloitte study, 23% of companies already use social networking as an aid in hiring. However, in the online world, both organizations and individuals must use extra caution to make sure they are dealing with a reputable party. The growing use of these networks does raise concerns about managing reputation for both organizations and individuals. Never has employer and personal branding mattered more, and as these users grow, we will need to examine the ethics of tapping into social networks to judge a job candidate. 54% of Fortune 100 companies use Twitter to connect with customers, and 29% have a fan page on Facebook. Respondents to the Manpower survey cited brand building as the most promising use of social media. Top executives are also getting in on social networking. According to one study, 30% of CEOs have their own Facebook page, and companies including IBM and Sony have used social networks to promote their corporate news and social responsibility efforts and open a two-way communication channel to better understand the concerns of their stakeholders. Manpower's operation in Greece now use Facebook as the virtual host of its monthly open house, where candidates and clients can meet, network, and attend sessions on industry issues while allowing its executives to stay connected. This has been made possible by its social networking efforts, which also include LinkedIn and Twitter. Needless to say, attendance to these virtual events grew by 300% in the first year alone. The power of social networking to connect large numbers of people simultaneously offers significant advantages when other modes of communication is not an option. Already, a number of organizations, both commercial and governmental, are using social networking technologies such as Twitter to communicate during emergencies, such as the most recent fire danger weather reports that the Victorian state government tweeted to all its followers. The complex business continuity plans developed by every large corporation, which are designed to maintain critical functions during blackouts and IT outages, will only be improved by the increasing use of social networking. We recommend that companies consider taking the following steps to promote the constructive use of social networking. Challenge your employees to innovate. Promote positive use of social media by encouraging employees to come up with ideas to use these tools to do their jobs better. If there is one thing people love to do, it's to discuss their successes. So get employees to share their use of social media tools in new ways to generate leads or service customers better. Tap into your internal experts. Teach by example. Encourage regular users of social networking in their jobs to discuss and demonstrate how it's done. Keep track of new ideas that flow from this kind of mentoring exchange and share the ideas and best practices. Let employees own the governance. The foundation of any healthy social network is an engaged community. Encourage all your employees to help develop and enforce your company's guidelines. This approach will certainly appeal to those employees most likely to use social media, promoting trust in the guidelines that ultimately are instituted. Guidelines that are set in stone can be restrictive. Instead, allow them to change and evolve. After all, social networking technologies and the ways people use them are always changing. Make sure that any social media guidelines are linked to your company's overall behavioral protocol. The aim is to create a system of governance where social networking is not seen as an exception, but rather an activity that is ultimately connected to your company's overall people practices. This kind of organizational change requires careful planning and management. Leaders must understand how social media can help their organization and should look to their employees for ideas. Twitter, Facebook, and other platforms have already proved themselves to be a real boom to business. But we're only just beginning to understand how they can be leveraged, so it's vital to keep an open mind. However, as with other technological advances that have transformed the world of work, Organizations must adapt their culture and work practices to unleash the great potential of social media in the workplace. As always, you will find more information on this white paper and on other Manpower research material on the website manpower.com.au/research or manpower.co.nz/research. The next Manpower Employment Outlook survey is due out on March 9th. Please diarise this date. Thank you.